Yo, Tito stream, what's good, man? I'm hitting y'all boys straight from the bed. Tito stream live from the bed, man. Um, Shoot, bro. Hey, I been meaning to do a vlog for you guys, and so shoot, here it is. I actually recorded like a 30-minute vlog the other day, but it was kind of trash. So I'm gonna try and do something a little different for y'all, man. I'm actually gonna do a little bit of Bible study with y'all today because last night, shout out to my friend Diana, she invited me out. We had some good food and went to this bar last night, and it was really a lot of fun. So shout out to her because I need to get out the house, man. This COVID thing is this COVID thing needs to go ahead and be over with because I'm ready to get out into the world. But anyway, that was so fun, man. But yesterday I came across this scripture. It's Luke 7:50, and I believe it said, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." Sheesh. And for me, like I've been having like these issues with like my eczema and stuff and like my medical and stuff like that, man. And when I got that message yesterday, it felt like it felt like a confirmation. Like, you know, the Lord was talking to me like, "Hey, bro, you've been going through all these things. Your affliction has been like a daily 24/7, you know, like thing for you, you know what I'm saying? But throughout this whole process, you've remained, you know, faithful to me and never let your mood get too down, and you know, you just, you know, you remain strong." And so when I got that, and when I felt like I got that message, I felt like it was like a word saying like, "Hey, you know, like you are free from you are free from this trial. Your faith has saved you." And so actually, that's not even the verse that I want to talk to you about, but that's the one that kind of got me onto the path that I am going to talk to you guys today. I don't really know how I stumbled across this verse. Well, actually I do, because my favorite verse is Mark 5:34. The passage about the Jesus and the girl with the affliction for 12 years, and you know, she touched his coat and it healed her of her affliction. And so he told, you know, he turned to her and said, daughter, your faith has healed you. You know, go and be free from your suffering." That's Mark 5:34. And so anyway, like I was saying, I was at the bar yesterday, so we had like a drink or whatever. And so I think I was going to look up, you know, Mark 5:34, but I wasn't quite sure which one, you know, what the exact verse was. So I actually looked up Mark 5:24, and that brought me to this rare verse that I'd never seen before. And I'm about to pull it up on my Bible app right now. And so this verse, I got a lot out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and read to you guys. I'm going to read to you guys like the passages that I stumbled across, and also read to you guys my interpretation. Let me see. Or maybe it was Mark 5:14. Because when I saw Mark 5:24, I saw that was the one I was looking for. So maybe it was Mark 5:14. I don't know. But anyway, so here is the full passage that I came across, and I'm gonna read to you guys the entire passage, and then I'm gonna read to you guys the different breakdowns that I got from it, you know, and just in studying and looking at this verse yesterday. So I'm gonna have the look at my rare Bible colors. But like, bro, take it like, this is like, these are all different, like, things I got out of this passage, but there's really more, but, anyway. So, I'm gonna start with, so this is Mark 5:6 through 20. So I'm gonna start with Mark 5:6. And I'm reading out the New Living Translation if you guys want to follow along. It's in NLT. When Jesus was still some distance away, the man saw him, ran to meet him, and bowed before him. With a shriek, he screamed, "Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, son of..." Actually, let me run back real quick. So I'm gonna just give you a little bit of background. I didn't highlight this part, but I'm gonna give you a little bit of background. So that basically, the man in question, he's demon possessed. And he's like just terrorizing town or something like that. And so he's terrorizing town, and this is where Mark 6 starts. So let me start over one more time. When Jesus was still some distance away, the man saw him, ran to meet him, and bowed low before him. With a shriek, he screamed, "Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In the name of God, I beg you, don't torture me." For Jesus had already said to the spirit, "Come out of the man, you evil spirit." Then Jesus demanded, "What is your name?" And he replied, "My name is Legion, because there are many of us inside this man." Then the evil spirits begged him again and again not to send him to some distant place. There happened to be a large herd of pigs feeding on the hillside nearby. "Send us into those pigs," the spirits begged. "Let us enter them." So Jesus gave them permission. The evil spirits came out of the man and entered the pigs, and the entire herd of about 2,000 pigs plunged down the steep hillside into the lake and drowned in the water. The herdsmen fled to the nearby town and the surrounding countryside, spreading the news as they ran. People rushed out to see what happened. A crowd soon gathered around Jesus, and they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons. He was sitting there fully clothed and perfectly sane, and they were all afraid. Then those who had seen what happened told the others about the demon-possessed man and the pigs. And the crowd began pleading with Jesus to go away and leave them alone. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. But Jesus said, "No, go home to your family and tell them everything the Lord has done for you and how merciful he has been." So the man started off to visit the 10 towns of that region and began to proclaim the great things Jesus had done for him. And everyone was amazed at what he had told them. Sheesh. There's actually a lot going on. There's actually a lot going on in this passage to me. So for me, I kind of broke it down into a few different parts. And I'm kind of looking at my notes here on my phone right now. I think it looks like I have about 5 breakdowns for how I interpreted the different levels to this passage. So I'm gonna go ahead and break those down to you. So I'm first gonna start with verse 9 through 13. So I'm gonna read it and then I'm gonna let you know how I see it. Okay, verse 9. Then Jesus demanded, "What is your name?" And he replied, "My name is Legion, because there are many of us inside this man." Then the evil spirits begged him again and again not to send them to some distant place. There happened to be a large herd of pigs feeding on the hillside nearby. "Send us into those pigs," the spirits begged. "Let us enter them." So Jesus gave them permission. The evil spirits came out of the man and entered the pigs, and the entire herd of about 2,000 pigs plunged down the steep hillside into the lake and drowned in the water. I'll be honest. The end of that verse 13, where they jump to the pigs and drown themselves is a little creepy to me. But so for this particular part of the passage, what I got out of it was, this is an example of Jesus having command over This is an example of Jesus having command over even the demons and devils in our lives. Like, when he pulled up on this man, he spoke directly, to the affliction inside of him, and said, and you can clearly tell that Jesus had authority, with this demon. The demon feared him. Jesus was like, "Hey, what's your name? Come out, or come out of this man. What's your name?" And the demons begged him, like, "Hey, don't send us into the abyss." Like, you could clearly see, hey, these are, the Lord is in control. Not only over man, but over the spiritual realms. Those demons are going to be destroyed if they didn't beg him to send him to beg for him to send them, into another area. And even to that end, they had to ask permission from the Lord to go into another form. So in that way, you have security knowing, like, hey, the Lord is in control over the things that the afflictions even that reside, within you. He is the ultimate healer. Going a little deeper into that, I'll read verse 11, verse 11 through 13. So here's verse 11. There happened to be a large herd of pigs feeding on a hillside nearby. "Send us into those pigs," the spirits begged. "Let us enter them." So Jesus gave them permission. The evil spirits came out of the man and entered the pigs, and the entire herd of about 2,000 pigs plunged down to a steep hillside into the lake and drowned into the water. Now, to me, that verse 11 to 13 exemplifies the love and mercy of our Lord God. Now, I've already shown, like, hey, the Lord has control and has authority over these demons and these afflictions. And he also has such great love for us that he doesn't let these demons destroy us. As you can see, when the demons were exorcised from the man and they went into the pigs, those demons were so strong that they instantly killed those pigs. As soon as they went into the pigs, they ran into the water and instantly drowned. When those demons were placed anywhere, when they were placed in a body that wasn't human, they instantly killed those things. And it kind of reminds me of that one verse. I can't remember the actual one right now, where it's like, hey, don't worry about, like, what clothes you're going to wear and stuff like that, because look at the flowers and the trees. They're dressed well every day. And if the Lord dresses these flowers and trees, how much more does he love you? And so this scenario kind of harkens back to that to me. Like, these demons are part of the things that we have to deal with as human beings, but under the command of the Lord, they're never strong enough to destroy us. They never are. And instantly upon his presence, they're gone and done for. But the power of these demons is shown instantly when they're thrown to the pigs, because, as I said, they were killed instantly as soon as they were put into those bodies. But because we're so loved, they don't have that level of power and influence over us. So now I'm going to skip a little ahead to verses 18 through 20. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. But Jesus said, "No, go home to your family and tell them everything the Lord has done for you and how merciful he has been." So the man started off to visit 10 towns of that region and began to proclaim the great things Jesus had done for him. And everyone was amazed at what he told them. So this guy was demon possessed. He was going through a lot. And so when he was healed by the Lord, he loved the Lord so much that he was like, bruh, let me come with you. I want to be with you. I want to be with you always. And Jesus was like, he was basically like, no, now is not time for you to come with me. I got other things to do. But what you can do to show your love for the Lord, go into town and tell people, this is what the Lord God has done for me. This is the mercy that He's shown me. When a blessing comes, I'm trying to figure out, the best way to word my interpretation of this. But I'll give it a re-explanation if y'all ask me in the comments. I don't know if I fully explained my thought process well with that, but okay. So the next verse I got is Mark or verse 14 through 19. And I'm about to wrap this up because I got one more after this. All right. Verse 14. The herdsmen fled to the nearby town and the surrounding countryside, spreading the news as they ran. People rushed out to see what had happened. A crowd soon gathered around Jesus, and they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons. He was sitting there fully clothed and perfectly sane, and they were all afraid. Then those who had seen what had happened told the others about the demon-possessed man and the pigs. And the crowd began pleading with Jesus to go away and leave them alone. As Jesus was getting into the boat, a man who had been demon-possessed and begged to go with him. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. But Jesus said, "No, go home to your family and tell them everything the Lord has done for you and how merciful He has been." That's verses 14 through 19. So, to me, this verse kind of talks about what the third party sees. You have Jesus and you have the man possessed by demons. But in this particular passage, it was a dude who was watching and saw with his own human interpretation of what went on and ran to town to tell everybody. And so when he went to tell everybody, like, hey, this is what I saw and this is what happened, and they came back and saw him and saw that, everything was fine, this dude wasn't tripping no more, they became fearful. Whatever they were thinking or whatever their interpretation was of what had happened or what Jesus had done for this man, it was an interpretation that struck fear into them. They didn't understand what they saw. And the reason why they didn't understand is because they were the third party in this. They were the third party in this interaction. The blessing wasn't translated to others by the demon-possessed man in this passage. It was told to others by someone viewing what happened. So when this random dude was telling everybody, hey, this is what's going on, the message they received or how they received it, it didn't land with them. So when they seen Jesus, they were like, bro, you have to leave. They were fearful of him. They thought that he was some kind of, conjurer or something like that. And that's when the demon possessed man says, hey, Jesus, can I ride with you? And he says, no, go to your family and tell everyone what the Lord has done for you. And if you remember verse 20, so the man started off to visit 10 towns of that region and began to proclaim the great things Jesus had done for him. And everyone was amazed at what he told them. The message was much different when the person who received the blessing went to tell everyone. It was different than when somebody who was looking with their own interpretation went to go spread the message. Furthermore, I've been kind of reading some passages, and I noticed that Jesus does this a lot. So when the townspeople came, and he was like, and they were like, hey, leave us. We're fearful of you. Jesus just left. When he's not wanted in the area, he don't really try to fight it. He doesn't be like, y'all tripping or whatever. He's like, okay, well, if that's what y'all want, then I'ma slide. This is not where I'm supposed to be if I meet this type of resistance. That's one thing I personally had to learn over the last couple of years. If there's that level of resistance, that might not be the space that you're supposed to be in. It's not against the space, and it's not against you, but that's just probably not the space that you're supposed to be at. So Jesus doesn't make a big fuss when people tell him to leave. And when people ask him to come, he comes. So that's kind of like a side note, but that's just something that I kind of noticed always happens, and it's another example here. That when the crowd began pleading with Jesus to go away, the next verse they're like, "Hey, well, Jesus will get into the boat." He was like, "Sure, all right." So that's just one thing I had to learn, and kind of the last interpretation I got from this verse is from verses 6 through 8 at the beginning of the passage. Verse 6, when Jesus was still some distance away, the man saw him, ran to meet him, and bowed low before him. With a shriek, he screamed, "Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, Son of Most High God? In the name of God, I beg you, don't torture me." For Jesus had already said to the spirit, "Come out of the man, you evil spirit." So when I first read this, I was like, this demon acting weird. Why are you pulling up and then talking about, why are you bothering me? It reads a little weird. But then I seen verse 8, for Jesus had already said to the spirit, "Come out of the man, you evil spirit." So this is kind of timeline of what happened. Jesus saw this man who was afflicted from far away. So verse 6, when Jesus was still some distance away, the man saw him, ran to meet him, and bowed low before him. In verse 6, Jesus had already told the man, come out of the man, you evil spirit." Jesus had already commanded this evil spirit from some distance away. So that happened before verse 6 starts. You get me? Verse 6. When Jesus was still some distance away, the man saw him, ran to meet him, and bowed low before him. So he had already said, "Come out of the man, you evil spirit." And upon hearing that, the man came, ran to meet him, and then bowed. And so the demon's response to that was, Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, Son of Most High, in the name of God, I beg you, don't torture me. These demons are begging for mercy upon the instant command of the Lord Jesus. But the important thing to me in this verse is that it reminds me of the story of the man with the 2 sons, and the one son went off to the city and all that stuff, while the other son stayed behind. And then the son who came to the city came back, and it was basically Jesus' parable about how, you know, a lost sheep comes back, and everyone is celebratory of a lost sheep or someone coming back to God, because at the beginning of that verse, or in that story, when the son from the city returns home, the father sees him from far away and runs to him and says, you know, hey, you know, welcome back, and accepts him into his home. But the key part of that is that the father saw this man who intended to return from far away. And so that's the same thing here. When Jesus was still some distance away, he had already commanded the affliction to leave. He had already commanded the affliction within this man to be gone from a far distance away. And so that just shows the blessing of the intentionality to me. When you're coming to the Lord, he will meet you and free you from that affliction from a far distance. You don't have to be perfect to receive that blessing. But if you're moving towards him and he can see you in the distance, well, he'll come to you. He'll make a command from your distance and free you. And so anyway, that's this is like my first video where I've really the first time that I've kind of talked in depth with somebody about how I interpret a passage. But I've never really seen this passage before, never really seen it talked about. But to me, there's so many different layers to this passage, and it's probably even more. But this is just kind of what I gathered in a relatively short time last night, because I was reading my Bible after I got back from the bar. But this chapter 5 verses 6 through 20 is so layered to me, and it's and that's not even the entirety of the chapter. There's still a whole lot more to the chapter. Like I said, my favorite verse, Mark 5:34, is, you know, still within this chapter. But I really enjoyed reading this, and yes, it's still a little unnerving about the pigs driving themselves into the water to drown themselves. Gosh. But I just want to read you guys that, and if you guys have any thoughts on that, or thoughts on the interpretation I gave, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you guys like this type of video, if y'all want to hear more about this kind of stuff, or maybe if y'all want to send in verses for me to interpret or whatever. I don't know how often I'll do this stuff. I'll probably just come up as I see like, you know, stuff that really speaks to me. But, you know, the inciting verse for this, remember, was Luke 7:50. And the full verse is from the New Living Translation. And Jesus said to the woman, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." It's a little different to me than in Mark 5:34 when he's like, when he says, let me pull it up real quick just so I got the exact from the New International Version is the verse I like. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." To me, it is two different stories. the Luke 750 verse and the Mark 534 verse are not the same story. But to me, the wording of your faith has saved you, go in peace, has a different meaning to me than when he says, daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace. Something about that Luke 750 version is much more powerful. It's much more powerful to me. It's like as if you were in a trial, not knowing that you were in a trial, but the consequences of failing versus the reward of passing. I don't know. It's really weird. But anyway, let me know if you guys like this video, man. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up because this video is getting long. But hey, Atem, man. I hope you guys are doing well, staying safe, and being blessed. Love you guys, bro. I'm out of here. Peace.